G'day everyone, it's Curtis here and welcome to an On The Back Wheel video. Today I'm going to give my final thoughts on the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro and answer your questions on the bike. Hey, before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Every subscriber helps me get more bikes like this for review. All right, let's get into it. So I've had the bike for 2 weeks now. I've done about 900 kilometers on the bike. It's been a mix of on-road, off-road and commuting. I have to say I really rate this bike. I think it is fantastic. Of the bikes I've had for review, there's always been something like a glaring fault or something like that. This bike does not have those faults and I can 100% recommend buying one. I would also buy one myself. I think it is a fantastic bike. It is perfect for the kind of riding I'm doing at the moment, you know, the adventure riding and commuting to and from work and touring. It is a fantastic bike. I haven't mentioned the sticker price until now. It is roughly $24,490 right away, give or take a bit. There's no way of getting around it. It's an expensive motorcycle and it is a premium bike compared to say a Tenere, which is about 19,000 Australian dollars. It is definitely a bit more. I honestly think it is a better bike though, and you do get a lot of accessories on the bike. Like we've got the heated grips, which work really well. They are fantastic. Got a heated seat, cruise control, all the electronics, and they all work fantastic. It is a really good bike, and I do think you are getting your value for money. Look, motorcycles are just expensive nowadays. It sucks, it really does suck. I mean, you're getting 2 wheels instead of 4. So my final thoughts on the bike, as I said, it is a fantastic machine. I really like it. The engine is an absolute peach. It's smooth, it's tractable, yet it has some absolute punch to it. It goes pretty hard and it's really good for overtaking. Off-road, you can really lug it and it doesn't flame out in you or chug or stall. It's a really good motor, I rate it. The gearbox, there's a couple of things I haven't mentioned with that. The quick shifter, it's a little bit notchy up and down and hard to use when you're not wearing boots. Wearing my normal work boots, like tradies kind of boots, you have to really fiddle with it every now and again, and it doesn't feel smooth. You have to change your angle. However, in my adventure boots, it feels completely fine. So, don't know what the go is there. It could be the angles or something like that, but it does feel a little bit notchy, and every now and again, it doesn't want to go down gears. You really got to stab on it, and I think it's also to do with the revs and the down blipper. You need to have the revs up a bit. Off-road, it works so well. Once you use a quick shifter, it's hard to go back. They work so well. Coming around to here, the clutch, no issues at all. It's smooth and easy to use. Fantastic. The front brakes have some serious stonk, and I find the tires can't keep up with the braking power on these. They have some serious bite. They are good brakes. However, they don't like grab when you're off-road, which is fantastic. That's bit of a problem sometimes with big dual disc setups. When you're off-road, you grab a little bit and it locks up and you're getting yourself in trouble. However, this did not have any issues. The rear brake was a bit high for me. I wasn't able to adjust it. So it was a little bit high for me, which made it hard to use off-road. I don't have a lot of maneuverability in my ankle. But you know, that's a little bit of a nitpick. I believe you can adjust it. I just don't know how. Another thing I haven't mentioned is the bars. It is a bit of a reach forward and it feels like you're a little bit hunched over and reaching for the bars. I believe a set of risers would fix that. I did play with the angle. I just tweaked them back a little bit and that did help. However, then standing up, I felt that I was having to reach down a little bit too much, so I just put them back to their standard position. So for someone, if you're shorter, you're going to be reaching forward a little bit, which can be a little bit uncomfortable. Standing up felt fantastic. Could be a little bit high for me, but overall for a stock setup, very good. But yeah, just be wary of the bars, maybe some risers or a different set of handlebars. But for the price, I don't want to be changing the handlebars. I want everything ready to go. Another nitpick with the price is these handguards. Look, really, on my KLR for $100, I put on a set of fantastic bark busters. Why a $25,000 bike can't come with a good set of handguards, I do not know. But you know, a minor nitpick, but still, these are more wind deflectors than anything, and not really going to protect you in a crash, or your expensive levers and lever assemblies either. You know, that stuff is expensive. You don't want them to break just because you had cheap bloody wind deflectors on. The lights, these are very good lights. Also the auxiliary lights, I tested them out a few times, they work well. The auxiliary lights just kind of shoot in front of you, they don't shoot far, just kind of spread the beam out a little bit and get that close-up stuff. High beam works really well, and I actually got flashed a fair few times at night time with my low beam. People thought it was my high beam, so it was really satisfying to blast them with the high beam. One thing I will say though, with these new Triumphs, we'll come here. This, so you flick on your high beam, one touch, high beam on, one touch off. It's hard to flash someone. You have to go like, double tap it really quick. Nitpick, but something worth mentioning. I mentioned in my first ride review that on the side here, these parts really dig into your knees. So when your knees are up here, it digs in and actually gave me bruising right here. And I can still feel it, bruising right there. Since I've lifted the seat up, it is slightly better, but still not great. I would want to definitely change this. How? I'm not sure. Look, looking at it, I think you could modify it. But like my hand guards, for 25 grand, this shouldn't be something you worry about. I know it is nitpicking, but it's actually bruising my inside of my knee. And especially when you're standing up and you're clamping in when you're standing up, your legs really grab there sometimes on a bigger bike when you're moving your weight forward and back, and it's annoying. It's just annoying, so I thought I'd mention it. I haven't seen anyone mention that before, so I thought I'd bring it up. It may bother you less, it may bother you more. Surely there is a fix for it. What, I don't know yet, but I'm mentioning it just so you're wary of it. The suspension on this is absolutely fantastic. I haven't had any issues at all, especially the front. I like the front forks. The rear shock, it works fantastic. However, it only has one adjustment, which is done through this dial here. It is in a fantastic spot. However, for the price, I think it should have separate compression and rebound adjustment. Okay, let's move inside. I'm gonna sit at the computer and answer your questions on the Rally Pro. Welcome to my desk, everyone. This is where I'm going to do the questions. So we've got a fair few user questions that we're going to go through. Some of them are really good questions. So let's just get right into it. The first one is, does the Tiger have too much tech? The short answer is no, I don't think it does at all. I love tech, so there is that, but I don't like tech when it doesn't work properly, and on the Tiger it works fantastic. You know, the heated grips work good, the heated seat work good. The up-down quick shifter was good, not great, but everything else was absolutely fantastic. The dash, you know, I think the tech on this bike is fantastic. So no, I don't think it has too much tech. So we have a lot of questions relating to the Tenere 700. We'll get to them right now. The first one is, I'm upgrading from my T7 simply for more touring bells and whistles. Rally Pro or Africa Twin? This is a tough one. They are a really good comparison. You're going to have to compare it to the base model Africa Twin, I think, because they are pretty evenly priced, similar weight, similar power. Africa Twin does have a little bit more grunt, so there is that. It's like a 1080cc now, nearly 1100, so it does have more grunt. And I think the Africa Twin looks better. Honestly, though, I think the Rally Pro is really hard. Oh, my sign fell down. Honestly, though, I think the Rally Pro is really hard to beat for the money. Both are an upgrade on the T7. The T7 is a really good bike. I would have one in a heartbeat, but the Rally Pro is a more premium bike, and so is the Africa Twin. I would go the Rally Pro for more touring stuff. You know, it's got your cruise control stock, heated seat, heated grips, up and down quick shifter. That's like an accessory on the Africa Twin, and it's just a really well put together bike, and it's set up fantastic for touring, and with the adjustable windscreen and everything, I would go the Rally Pro. Next, how would you rate this compared to a Tenere 700? So I have had a lot of questions very similar to this, so I'm just gonna, you know, put it all into one. How to rate it compared to the Tenere 700? Well, I think the Rally Pro is a better bike. It definitely is a better bike. However, it is more expensive. In Australia, for example, the Rally Pro is $24,500, about $6,000 more than a Tenere 700. One thing at the Tenere, though, it is really hard to get. I know in the US there's really big price difference as well. One good thing in the US, you can get a base model rally and add like a quick shifter to it for like $300 US, and you're not far off a Rally Pro. There's a couple other things that are missing, but I would probably get the base model in the US. But going back to the Tenere 700, the Rally Pro has better suspension stock. I believe the suspension is better. The seat's probably a little bit better. You can adjust the seat to different positions. Up and down quick shifter. I love quick shifters, especially on this kind of bike. Really adds to the touring ability. Cruise control. You know, I think it is a better bike. It is a little bit heavier. I know people complain about the T7's weight being a little bit high. I didn't really find it that way when I've ridden one. I've only ridden one for a couple of hours off-road, and that wasn't one of the considerations or things I really thought about. I did find the suspension was good, but it would dive a bit even when set up, whereas on the Rally Pro, you had a bit more adjustability, and the forks were definitely better. So I would say the Rally Pro is a better all-round bike. The Tenere, if you're doing more off-road focused stuff, you could set that up to be an absolute weapon, and that's what I would lean towards if you're getting a Tenere 700. But the Rally Pro overall is a better motorcycle. Next question, how is the radiator heat? I didn't find there to be any issues at all with the radiator heat. In fact, I didn't take any notice of it at all until I saw this question, and then I paid real attention to it, and even off-road with the fans kicking in, I didn't notice to be an issue. It hasn't been super hot here. It's kind of been like mid to high 20s at best, which is like in your 70s, 80s even Fahrenheit. And I didn't find the radiator heat to be an issue at all, even in traffic. Now, I've got a fair few questions about vibrations. I'm not sure if this bike has issues with vibrations, or people have said it has. I haven't read nearly anything on the bike at all. I try not to before I ride them. But I have a lot of questions about vibrations, or maybe it's just that's something that people really consider on a bike like this when it's a little bit more touring focused at times. How are the vibrations past 4,000 RPM? They are honestly perfectly fine. Once you get towards a red line, it is a little bit vibey, but that's right up top. And after having the bike for a little while, I found you're wasting your time right up there. You can still nail it and rev it out pretty hard, but it flattens off a fair bit up top, so you're wasting your time a bit up there. And even at that point, I wouldn't say the vibrations as bad as something like a KLR 650 at normal revs. So after 4,000, no real issues until you get much higher. How are the vibrations? As before, I found this to be a really smooth motorcycle. Another one, have you felt the vibration on long roads? No, not at all. It was fantastic. I believe cruising at 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers per hour, it is like 4,000 RPM. Completely smooth, and one of the great things is you can put the cruise control on, stretch your hands a bit. I think this would be a fantastic touring bike. It was when I was riding it, that's for sure. Next question, how set and forget are the electronics? The electronics on this are very good. I am very critical of electronics when they're a pain to use. On this, they are extremely easy to use. Every setting has its purpose, except rain mode, which I think is always a waste of time. Road mode was good for when it was a bit damp or you just wanted to cruise. Sport mode was fantastic when you wanted to nail it through twisties a bit or just get a bit silly. Off-road mode was good. Just the base off-road mode was good. Rally Pro is fantastic because you can set it to how you like, and I really like that. But all the other settings, if you don't want to fiddle with settings at all, just stick with the basic settings and you won't have any issues at all. I really like them. How easily can you pick it up from a layover? It is an adventure bike after all. Now, I haven't crashed a bike, thankfully. It was Triumph's bike, so I really didn't want to. But I did a little experiment in my front yard. I just put it on the ground and picked it up, and I didn't have any issues at all. It was very similar to, say, my KLR 650, and I find that pretty easy to pick up and put down. Let's be honest though, it is still a heavy motorcycle. It's still like 220 kilos with fuel, so it's quite heavy. On your slippery muddy sections or inclines, it's going to be a struggle. Let's be honest, it's going to be a struggle. But overall, I didn't find it to be too bad at all. And just like walking it through the garage and that, and parking it in car parks, it is a little bit heavy. It felt really similar to my KLR 650 though. Like, it's fine. You can maneuver around with no issues at all. It's a big bike. At the end of the day, this is a big bike, but pretty easy to pick up on the trails. How is the gas mileage or fuel mileage if you're Australian? Really good. On a slow adventure bike loop I did in the rain, I was getting 6 litres per 100, which is, I've done the conversion, 39.2 miles per gallon. And with some more highway riding, it goes down to like 5.5 litres, which is 43 miles per gallon. Commuting, it was getting 5.4, which is fantastic. It's a really economical bike, especially for how grunty it is. What's the service period? It's 10,000 kilometers, which is 6,000 miles, or 1 year. So pretty standard for the class and most road-based bikes. How is the crash protection? On the one I had, you can see I had lower crash bars. You can also get upper crash bars. I would definitely get the upper crash bars as well. I don't think they're too expensive. The lower stuff would save you in a basic off, but it wasn't a lot of protection. It did feel really solid though. I grabbed it and shook it and kicked it, and it felt rock solid. I would definitely get the upper accessory crash bars as well though. How does the Rally Pro handle spirited riding? Obviously the GT Pro is road biased, but does the 21-inch front end and longer travel suspension ruin it somewhat for the Rally? So no, it doesn't. You can still have an absolute blast in twisties in this. I will say though, the front does push a little bit and does feel a little bit understeery with how I had it set up. I did some tweaking, it didn't really change it, so maybe you can slide the forks down a little bit through the tubes and that would help. But honestly, you can still have an absolute blast through the twisties on this, and like going to and from work, like lane splitting and just smashing it in front of traffic was really fun. And the motor is great for that, like just holding it flat and banging through your quick shifter, really good. Look, for me, I think it was a really nice handling motorcycle, just a little bit understeery. So I hope that answers your question. How did you find the electronics? Very good. I liked all the electronics on the bike. They worked really well, and I like that you can disable them all too, which is really key for me for riding off-road. Does it feel like a big bike, aka a BMW GS or something similar? No, it doesn't. I know the bigger bikes, like you see that last video I went riding with my Dave, he's got a big 1200 GSA. That feels like a big bike off-road, and when it goes, it's a real handful. This definitely feels like a big step down from that. Does feel a lot more flickable and easy to ride. And for me, once I got comfortable off-road, felt fantastic. Like, you could really manhandle it a bit. You still got to be wary in the really, really slippery stuff. Just the front will start to push and it'll just start to slide down hills, especially with the tires. I didn't like those Crew 3s at all. But no, it doesn't feel like a big bike. I liked the kind of mid-size feel it has. Does it feel top heavy? No, I didn't find that at all. I found it to be a very neutral, balanced bike. Alright, that's it from me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Every subscriber really helps grow the channel, and I can do more videos like this. This isn't something I've done in the past, but I might keep doing it. We'll see how we go. I was only meant to have the bike for 1 week, then it got extended for 2, so my videos got thrown around a bit, so that's why I did this at the end. But I think it's worked really well. Hopefully someone like me, normal guy who takes it for a good run, can answer your questions. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. Hit that subscribe button and keep it on the back wheel. Catches.